Max hates King of Fighters. SNK is the worst thing ever in his eyes.
Some of you guys are actually thinking this right now, considering the frequency or infrequency of me posting King of Fighters, if not any SNK game footage. Although I do have an excuse, there hasn't been a lot of SNK fighting games that have really interested me over the past while. King of Fighters 13, while a fantastic game, never really had good net play when it came out, so I totally missed the boat on that game. And I really wanted to actually sit down and learn a KOF title, actually understand its mechanics, because at the moment, the only thing I really get about King of Fighters and its characters is what's in Capcom vs. SNK 2. Now, this entire conversation is kind of sparked around the fact that King of Fighters 14, even though we did make that one video about its initial reveal, which was underwhelming to say the least, does look a lot better than it did before. It doesn't look absolutely spectacular. A game like even Soul Calibur 4 or 5 still looks better graphically, technically, but the KOF series never really lived on its graphical fidelity. Like, a lot of it existed on the same exact hardware during its entirety in arcades. So it comes as no shock that KOF 14 isn't even exactly a looker, even though it does look a lot better now, but it does shine in its gameplay, and that's what's hooked a lot of people. And the stuff that I've always liked about KOF mechanics are the fact that you have a ton of mobility options between forward rolling, back rolling, jumping, super jumping, short jumping. A ton of those aspects were actually introduced to me in Capcom vs. SNK 2, specifically in N Groove, as that was my main groove for the majority of that game. I do really want to actively learn a KOF game, and I think King of Fighters 14 is going to be that game because it's not too far away. Although we do know the characters that are going to be in the game and the potential DLCs because they have leaked a bit before. And sadly, a few of the characters that I would be super excited about, like Hohamaru from Samurai Showdown, are replaced with other characters that have been around, like Nakaruru, so I think that's cool. It's just characters like Rock Howard and Geese and some of these others are what I was really looking forward to, and I'm glad that Geese got announced, and that was when I really started paying attention to KOF 14, because the core roster, you know, the Ioris, the Kyos, everyone like that, I think they're okay. I don't love their design in this one, but as soon as I started seeing that they got these classic costumes, I'm like, okay, this game is slowly pulling me in, and the more that came out, there's this new character called Kukiri, which looks absolutely freaking awesome. It's my replacement for Noob Saibot, which wasn't in Mortal Kombat X. I think he looks really damn cool. I'm extremely fickle when it comes to fighting games and the characters that are available in them, because if there's a sick as hell looking character, then I want to learn how to play that character. I do kind of like Terry's redesign as well, and for some reason, you can probably guess, I always kind of liked playing as Mai in CVS2, so that might be a natural transition. There's not a ton for me in King of Fighters 14, but I'm absolutely willing to give the game a chance, because right now it's all riding on decent net play. I really haven't run into a lot of SNK games that have super good net code, but the one thing I'm also dramatically looking forward to is the future beyond KOF 14. SNK has recently gone through some dramatic freaking changes within that company. For a long time, primarily focusing on things like pachinko machines, and I remember seeing a freaking Samurai Showdown pachinko machine trailer, and it was CG and ridiculous, and I was like, oh my god, is this a game? And I saw a pachinko machine in the end. I was pissed. I really love Samurai Showdown. It's definitely my favorite series from SNK, and if KOF 14 proves to be fairly big, or at least big enough for its hardcore audience, then yeah, we can actually see a rebirth of SNK fighters in some way. Imagine a Mark of the Wolf sequel, imagine more Samurai Showdowns, imagine a reboot of all those games in some way. I think it would be absolutely fantastic, and I know the fans are there. They're absolutely there. It just depends on how well received the game is, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be saying PS2 graphics. I do agree with you. When these trailers first came out, this stuff looked really rough. But if you pay attention now, it might not be as crazy flashy as some other games or have as vibrant animations, but it still looks halfway decent. Like, it doesn't look nearly as bad as it did before, and I'm willing to absolutely give the game a shot based on a few characters that have been announced. How can you ignore King of Dinosaurs? I mean, he's freaking King of Dinosaurs. There's enough of establishment in KOF 14 to get me in there, because, in all truth be told, I was saying things at the beginning of this video that seemed like they were a little audacious with me hating King of Fighters. Well, really, it was true. At one point in my life, I hated anything that was not a Capcom fighting game. I could vividly tell you I thought King of Fighters was a ripoff, even though it was dramatically something different. It was actually ex-Capcom people that were working on KOF. And I also despised things like Mortal Kombat, preventing me from even playing those games. So there was a lot I missed out on many years ago when I was completely biased towards one very specific thing with fighting games. And I ended up liking fighting games a lot more when I was trying out a bunch of different stuff, and not just sticking to that one thing. Sure, I still love Third Strike. Sure, I still love Capcom fighting games, especially the old ones. But man, you go back and you play something like Mark of the Wolves nowadays, you go back and you play some classic Samurai Showdowns, it makes me realize how big of an opportunity SNK is presented with right now, because Capcom's kind of having a lot of trouble like bringing back their classic franchises, if not their biggest one like Street Fighter, isn't doing so hot at the moment. SNK should be taking advantage of this wholeheartedly and bringing back things like Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown. Make people happy. SNK is responsible for some of the craziest, biggest legacy arcade games of all time. I only hope that they can make that a reality on modern-day consoles, and that's a future for SNK that I think almost everyone can get behind. Let me know what you guys think about KOF 14 in its current state. I would like to make more videos of characters, but based on what I've seen in the roster, I'm not like super amped about any really specific character right now. I was really surprised by Kukiri, and I was like, wow, that's a character I'm totally going to play. But I do know that Rock Howard is not going to be in the game. I do know that Rugal isn't going to be in the game. But I'm happy that I can at least compose teams of like Kukiri, Geese, and Terry, and probably throw Mai or King of Dinosaurs in there every once in a while. I got 4 or 5 characters I want to play as, and that's more than enough for me to start up a fighting game, and a brand new one at that. As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.